Welcome to Leadership God's Way, where we study the characteristics of the personal, relational, and skill development that's necessary to become an exceptional leader. You're going to develop the spiritual and moral character that's essential for your effectiveness. Now, these attributes don't come without paying a price. God's wisdom just doesn't land on your lap. And what you're going to have to do is apply patient and diligent labor in discovering God's treasures within His Word. And before you search, you're going to have to ask Him for insight and understanding to open the eyes of your heart to apply these spiritual truths in your life. But when you do, your character develops a consistency to make wise decisions, and then others are eagerly willing to follow you as a leader. So what I'd like to do is go to the book of Proverbs chapter 2. We're going to see in the first 11 verses the wisdom that's contained in this passage for us as leaders. And in the first 4 verses, I want you to notice that there is the word if that shows up. And then in verse 5, you're going to see the word then. So let's get started. My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom, inclining your heart to understanding, and yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, and if you seek it like silver and search for it as if it's a hidden treasure, then you're going to understand the fear of the Lord and the knowledge of God. Now, very often people will misunderstand the meaning of fear of the Lord, but all that simply is a healthy reverence for our Almighty Creator who brought us here with unique gifts to carry out His mission, to have the kingdom here on earth so that we can bring the lost out of discouragement and doubt and disappointment to the kingdom of hope. And when you seek God's guidance and eternal truths, you're going to develop a wisdom that's going to be a reliable companion in your life, so much so that you're going to crave it more than any kind of notoriety or wealth that you'd ever achieve as a leader. So let's go to verse 6. For the Lord gives wisdom, from His mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He stores up sound wisdom for the upright, and He's a shield for those who walk in integrity, guarding the paths of justice and watching over the way of His saints. Friends, when you follow the Lord's wisdom, He's never going to leave you or forsake you, and you're going to be protected from the potentially disastrous decisions you could make as a leader and all of the consequences that go along with it. Now we get to verse 9, and the word then shows up once again. Then you're going to understand righteousness, justice, equity, and every good path. You'll never be led astray when you're following the Lord's principles in your life. Then we go to the final 2 verses, verses 10 and 11. It says, for wisdom will come into your heart, knowledge will be pleasant to your soul, discretion will watch over you, and understanding will guard you. This passage, friends, provides a moral compass to navigate all of the potentially complex situations that you face every day, but you'll be able to do it with discernment and integrity. And you have to always remember this, that as a leader, people are watching you every day to decide if they can rely upon and trust you as a leader. Now, what I'd like for you to do for this week is go back and study this passage and apply these truths into your life and watch how this will elevate your leadership to levels that you never thought were possible. Try it and see what happens.